And we have another exciting speaker here at our The Inspired Gift Fair Global Online Expo with Dianna Jacobsen, who is an accountant and a money mind financial strategist. Dianna has been in the area of numbers for a long time, but numbers do tell a story, yet the real magic begins when you change the overall narrative. And as an accountant, Diana looks at money mind strategies. You're helping people to move beyond what they have towards what they want to create. And that often includes a shift in thinking, in approach, in direction. And I love your signature, and I don't know whether you have it at hand, magic wand, Diana. Have you got your magic wand? Oh, there you are. There we go. So the magic wand, with the magic wand, Diana is going to give us some insights. How can we shift from the accounting part, which we all need to look at in business, to the abundance thinking? Diana, start us off with some of your sharing direction on that topic.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. How fabulous to be here. Yes, so the very first money management tool I ever recommend to people and have done for many years and decades, as Sigrid said. I appreciate you not actually naming a number there, but is the magic wand. Because further to what Dr. Demetra was sharing, our results are a reflection of our thinking, of what's going on internally, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. And so money is a scorecard. We look at our bank statement or our profit and loss statement and lament whatever the numbers tell us, but they are similar to going to a doctor's and getting a health check and having some sort of a scorecard or report card on that. They are a reflection of where our thinking and belief systems have been to generate that result. The great news is that means that it is never locked in stone and you can change that instantaneously every single moment of every single day. So question one is to say, what results am I seeing? What in any area of life? What belief about life, about this aspect of life, must I have for this result to show up? So I hand out and advocate the magic wand to everyone, because if we don't get a different picture and image, fantasy, dream, vision, imagination, whatever you want to call it, then we just keep doing the same thing that we've done. And it doesn't have to go, too deep into the psychology. There is a whole psychology behind it and so forth. But it's just about saying, well, what do I want to map out ahead? Abraham Hicks calls it backfilling the grid, getting a picture and then filling the gaps to create that picture. I talk a lot about creating your vision, and the magic wand is to do that imagination, that fantasy, that dream, that vision, the wish, the hope, the goals, the daydreams out ahead, and to, one, give yourself permission to do that, and then secondly, give yourself permission to lean into that and create it. And the magic wand helps people to overcome the limiting beliefs, because it's that bit of magic, that bit of let's get all the limiting beliefs, get out of your own way to create that.
Diana, can I jump in here and ask you,
Sure.
without wanting to take you off your trail here, that I love the magic wand because, the visual, I'm very visual. Lots of people probably are. And do you get the question, magic wand, magic, and then you have accounting, realistic numbers, data that you should rely on, especially when we're talking about business here. Do you get the question, this doesn't fit together? How do you make this fit together?
I get a lot of people saying, you're not like my other accountants. Um, the numbers won't change. It's a bit like a weight loss program. It will only work momentarily if the beliefs behind it don't change. So when I work with people, I work with the mindset and the money. You can't say I will do some financial strategizing when I have money, because if you don't change your mindset to financial strategizing, the money won't happen. We see this play out when people win the lottery and suddenly within 6 months it's all gone because their mindset hasn't changed and they haven't assimilated that. Whereas if we do vision boards, we set goals, we dream dreams, we start to assimilate ourselves into that new picture, which means our subconscious beliefs are gradually increasing to align with that, which means that our monetary scorecard can then align. So yes, we have the accounting numbers, and yes, we have to work with what we've got on a realistic playing field for now. And this isn't about go out and spend a lot of money and pretend you're wealthy and bankrupt yourself, but it's about gradually raising the bar. When I set my budgets, I raise the bar a little bit every quarter. I very rarely get to it in that quarter, but I'll usually be almost there by the end of the quarter. And then, so you're just kind of setting it. And because you're not raising it enormously, your mindset can assimilate that. And it boils down to, as Joanne said earlier, just a little task each day. I talk about it as the 5-degree shifts. You know, if we face 90, face forward, 90 degrees is a right angle. So if we face forward, we can see where we're going. If we make a 5-degree shift, we end up way over there in a different place by just making a tiny shift. And that's how we bring that into budgeting and numbers. It might just be about the extra phone call or the extra something or the extra hour of work or the extra chargeable unit, just something that is digestible, but then converts to leverage. And, we can play it out on spreadsheets and things like that. But it has to start with get out of your own way with all the reasons why it can't happen. And that's got to start with some assimilation of the belief.
Yeah, and it's what we can visualize, isn't it? That we can then achieve that, and it is grounding, because you are, through that grounding, you are empowering a new approach to financial clarity and therefore success, to a more wealthy direction and mindset with it overall. So when we touched on AI, and I think AI is something that comes into everything now, especially looking at the year ahead that's coming. When we're shifting from that accounting mindset, we have to, be in the business, and often business owners, I think you have said this before, Dianna, if I'm not mistaken, they don't look at the spreadsheet, they don't really understand it, so they don't look at it. So when you're coming with a magic wand, I could imagine that creates a new energy and a new, approach to it all. But when we think about the area of the AI, is there anything in your direction that you can see we either would need to look at more or less for the new year in relation to money and our whole approach to that?
This is obviously very prominent in everyone's conversations at the moment. For us as members of the financial services industry, we've got very strict prohibitions on AI, because obviously any of our information needs to be sourced from credible sources. So we've actually just implemented a system in our business and across our few companies that it's an AI tool, but it only sources all of the legislations that are in our realm, which means, and again, I agree with what's been said in that we still need to show up authentically. People still want to deal with people. We still want the personal approach. My demographic is predominantly remote and rural Australia, so absolutely still need that personal touch. Because we're in strategy, financial strategy, succession planning, wealth accumulation, troubleshooting, like we're starting with people that are almost going out backwards a lot of the time. We're called in by banks and other advisors. So I can't see how that can be done with combining so much of the human aspect, the personalities, the interpersonal relationships within family businesses and other situations like that, and the strategizing. But we are absolutely inundated with legislation, and that is not reducing in any way, shape or form. So it's been very helpful now, the marriage between our strategies with the people and the situations, and then getting the backup from AI, as Joanne said, do the heavy lifting to throw in all of the questions that I might be doing about structuring and strategizing and in anything, just to check that I've got that and I can cite all the references and, legislative clauses, sections, divisions, whatever, behind the advice. But honestly, I can't see how that could be done without the human interaction with the AI, to be honest, in my space.
Yes, and I think that's really important. It's all very well to pick on certain information, but you need to very much personalize it to the individual. And if we're looking at, we want to achieve something new, something different, and we have this idea of a magic outcome, we want it
Mm.
wealth, then I think it is really important to be able to work with the person and create a personal approach to everything. So, abundance as such, Diana, does that often or does that create different ideas in different people when they come to you? What do they think? I mean, abundance is not necessarily a word I would have put with accounting. So tell me a bit about.
Yeah, and that's a perfect like segue from the previous question as well, because AI might give a standard answer if you plug a question in. I'm already hearing school teachers note that kids are all handing in assignments saying the same thing. So,
Yeah.
that probably won't work for too long. Um, because we can put in a question about a strategy, a structure, a legislative thing, or whatever. But everybody's starting at a different point. I demonstrate this when I work with people like a staircase, and it's not about superiority or anything, but it's just people are on different levels in their understanding, in their awareness, in their age and stage of life, in their circumstances. Sometimes, it's a bit like snakes and ladders. Sometimes there's been something that's knocked us down a few pegs, and we're having to regroup a little bit. So the AI might say, here's the outcome or the result, but that doesn't assimilate. We've still got to get something that brings the conversation to the staircase level that people are currently on, to bring it to, like what you've just said, the relevance, the practicality, the workability. It's got to be digestible to them. There's no point saying here's an answer and they're going, I have no idea what that's talking about. You've got to always bring any conversation or action steps to where people are at, and you've got to then bring them up the levels. You've got to stretch them, but there's no point putting them up here where our subconscious just shuts down and says, well, that's just not doable. I'm out for coffee. And that's what Demetra was talking about. The procrastination is it a fear of failure? Is it a distrust? Is it I've just got no idea where to start? Is it just overwhelmed? So you need to start the conversation, come back to a couple of steps each day or each week that are digestible to get people onto that playing field to start with. And that's where, to come back to your question, everyone's going to be on different steps. And everyone's got different backgrounds, different beliefs, different conditioning, different experiences. And I think when you say the word abundance, it's like saying the word religion or gender or football team or, flavor of ice cream, all these things that we, have these areas of ridiculous arbitrary demarcation about, because the languaging and the narrative is very important. And even as part of my, set the intention, it's that narrative. It's changed the narrative to be uplifting, to be positive, to be forward focused. So you've got to pick language that resonates with the target audience. So you're right, abundance might be some airy fairy thing out in the wild blue yonder to a lot of people, especially if they're just trying to do survival. So that's when you just move a little bit to more, more about comfortable or secure or stable or something like that. But the gradual increase in the perception of the terminology.
Yeah, I think you've given us a really great overview on some information, and you certainly are, Diana, a very different accountant, or an accountant with a different approach is probably a better way to say. So I'm sure that when people see the word accounting, or you're an accountant, and then they see the magic wand, there's sort of a momentary, you know,
Jarring.
sparks are flying. What is this all about? Can I really work with someone like that? And many might say, yes, this is very different. It is much more aligned with me, because accounting can be very dry, I think is what we call it sometimes as business
And
owners.
it's often very generic, whereas I see that it's something that absolutely should be customized to each person.
Mm.
And then it's a journey. It's not just managing the compliance stuff each quarter, each year, each whatever. It really needs to be, yeah, that's in the background, but it's a journey that we're bringing them along with their personal goals and business development, whatever direction, whether that's increase or
Mm.
downsizing for retirement or whatever it might be. But it needs to be a journey. It doesn't just need to be we're just on this treadmill and, treading water.
Doing the same. That's right.
Mm.
So, gifting yourself, just to say, Diana, you mentioned earlier that you are doing a lot of work in the Australian space, of course, with businesses in the agricultural areas as well, and in many areas there. But you are also having, or you do take on international clients. So I just want to open that up.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly are available, and if it is a conversation around what you just said, this personalization, and that can be really important, and whether they need to or want to take it up locally after an initial conversation with you, that is certainly possible. So I just want to shout out for Diana, but also for the other exhibitors that we have at this expo. Give yourself the gift to contact our exhibitors. Give yourself the gift to talk to Diana in more detail around accounting and what it is all about, and how she might be able to create a personalized structure for you moving into that new year that is coming very quickly. Diana, I thank you for your details on this. It's been very interesting, and always learning something new in this way. Thanks for your gift, and certainly the magic wand that you always have with you.
My pleasure. And there are gift voucher brochures attached at our booth. Always very happy to set up a phone chat or a Zoom chat with anyone to just start going in the right direction and see where they can end up.
Find
Thank
that
you.
magic wand or the magic star, perhaps looking forward to. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.